Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well and having a good day wherever you are. Over the course of the next few videos, I'm going to be returning my attention back to NECA and specifically their Universal horror figures. I've got a big backlog of these guys that I've been meaning to get around to for a very long time, and I've finally found a little bit of room to get to them at last. And I'm going to kick off by taking a look today with a bit of a double whammy. I'm going to be looking at the Ultimate Mummy figure and also the accessory set that accompanies it. So then, looking at the packaging for the Ultimate Mummy, we can see that NECA have adopted their standard box packaging, which is really successful. I love this, and I really love the approach they take to the covers and the artwork of these boxes, and I think this is a particularly striking example. Essentially what they do is they replicate the original movie posters from the Universal pictures, and this is a really beautiful piece of work, and I think it looks so striking. The use of colour here and the images of the mummy, and I just think it just looks absolutely fantastic. So this is a lovely display piece in its own right. Then if we flip it and look at the side panels, we actually have a choice of images depending on which way we want to face this, displaying some of NECA's fantastic photography, and they really do excel in this arena in my opinion. And you have your choice here of different poses and different looks for the mummy that you get out of this ultimate figure, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So of course, for those who choose to stack their action figure packaging on a shelf, you have a number of different options here in terms of what this is going to look like, and it's going to look really cool either way. And then on the reverse, we have this fantastic collage, this sort of montage effect of different photographs that NECA have taken of the figure in different poses and some of the accessories it comes with. And it just looks glorious. This almost looks like a mini film poster in its own right as well. So again, text-free, looks absolutely beautiful on display. Naturally, that front cover opens up, and inside, on the left-hand panel, we can see another fantastic photograph here of the mummy in all of his glory, and it looks really impressive. And then on the right-hand side, we have the window display and of course the figure and all of his various accessories. So it just looks really good, and NECA have really nailed the presentation and the format of these figures, and this is no exception. Inside, we also have this card inlay, a sort of mini diorama. It's not the most impressive thing they've ever put together, to be honest, but it's a nice little touch nevertheless. And the figure, once removed from the packaging, once again does not disappoint. NECA really know what they're doing in this sphere. If we start off by taking a look at the head sculpt, yeah, what a fantastic job they've done here, really mirroring what we see on screen, really capturing Boris Karloff's likeness as the mummy in that makeup. I think it's fantastic, and there's such a lot of detail here in this sculpt. You can see all those individual lines, grooves, really etched into his face there, which look absolutely fantastic, and even the detailing around the eyes. And as ever with these sculpts, what really makes these work is the paint apps, and NECA have knocked it out of the park here. I mean, there's such a lot of different colours being used here. There's greys, there's creams, there's whites, there's a bit of blue in there, I think, and even some pink around the eyes. And it all just comes together really well to just really create that very authentic look. That's something like you really genuinely are looking in the face of Karloff's mummy here. And I think particularly around the eyes there, how they've really finely applied the paint to make them look dead but also alive. Kind of a difficult thing to pull off, but they've nailed it. And this extends to the rest of the figure itself. If we look at the torso here, the arms, the legs, I mean, there's not an inch of this figure that does not have a very detailed sculpt. And of course, it's all original. There's nothing that here has been recycled from another figure or that they've recycled elsewhere, to the best of my knowledge, unless it's a variant of the mummy itself. This is absolutely fantastic. A lot of tooling and detailing has gone into this. And again, lots of fantastic paint apps. So I can't really fault this. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. They have not skimped on the detail at all. Of course, that remains true for the hands as well, particularly the hand with the ring finger there. Lovely little bit of detail, and again, we can see the gold paint apps very finely applied, no smudging, and even the fingertips there, the fingernails are more discoloured and darker than the rest of the hand. So I just love the attention to detail that's gone into this. It's very fine, it's very minute, and it's probably one of the most impressive sculpts when we think about some of the other figures that tend to, like your Draculas and your Frankensteins tend to wear suits and things like that, which are a bit easier. There's still a lot of detail on those figures, don't get me wrong, but this is so much more intricate. And then again, the way they've just applied the washes and the paints here just to really bring it to life, pardon the pun, it is really fantastic. So I think they are to be commended here, because this couldn't have been an easy one to produce. And likewise, that extends through the legs and into the feet as well. Now, in terms of the surface area of the feet, they are quite small, and this can lead to some balancing issues. But to be fair, I've not had any problems with them falling down or anything like that, so it seems to work pretty well. Moving on to the articulation, I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed. He's got 2 points of articulation in the neck, at the bottom of the neck and the top of the neck there, allowing the head to rotate all the way around, lean left and right a really huge distance, and bend forwards and backwards a huge range of motion here. Absolutely fantastic stuff and kind of unexpected. He's also got ball joints in the shoulders, so the arms will lift up and out. There's a complementary bicep swivel there, and a double pin at the elbow, which is absolutely brilliant and not something we often see with NECA actually these days. So I think this is fantastic. He's then got the standard pin swivel at the wrist there, so of course the hand rotates all the way around and it hinges forwards and backwards. No issues there at all. He's got an additional 2 points, 2 ball joints in the torso, one at the top of the chest and one in the waist there. So again, in terms of moving from side to side, no issues there. I would have thought he could lean left and right a little bit more than he does, unfortunately. Likewise, when it comes to bending forwards and backwards, not so much. That's a bit disappointing given that we have 2 points of articulation here. There's ball joints in the hips as well, so legs will kick out a really healthy distance and they can swivel left and right as well. The legs will kick forwards a little bit, they'll go back a tiny bit. There's a single joint in the knee at this time, sadly, which will bend to about 90 degrees. It will also swivel from side to side though, and there is an ankle pivot there, allowing the foot to hinge forwards and backwards a little bit and also swivel from side to side. In terms of accessories, you might not think there's an awful lot the mummy would need to come with, but NECA have found a way. He comes with an additional pair of open palm hands, 2 alternate heads, a miniaturized Egyptian crate, and additional bandages. The crate is really nicely produced. There's some additional Egyptian writing on the top there in this gold paint. I really love how we see the Horus figures there as well. It looks really nice. And inside, if we open up that lid, there's actually this fantastic papyrus inside where we see these wonderful Egyptian hieroglyphics. This tapestry here, which looks absolutely glorious. What a lovely little detail and very unexpected. And the other bits and pieces are really fun as well. Of course, got the open palm hands there, allowing them to sort of stretch out, reach out to grab you. We have the additional bandages, which just really adds that sort of ethereal, haunting quality of the character, which I think works really well here. Actually, such a small thing makes a big difference to the presentation of this figure. And then, of course, we have that open mouth, alternate head there as well, which is very cool and very striking. And I have to say, this is very creepy looking. So all in all, I think a pretty fantastic figure. We actually get some really fun accessories in here. As I said, the sculpting, the detailing, the paint apps are wonderful, and I think there's enough that we can do with these additional accessories that really help create some different looks and poses for this figure that make him quite a dynamic display piece. But speaking of displays, I also invested in the accessory set for this figure. Because whilst the figure is very cool, I kind of feel like you've got to have the sarcophagus to really make this come to life, haven't you? So if we take a look at the packaging this time around, obviously it's a lot larger. It's about twice the size or length of the standard figure packaging. And this time, NECA have opted for some photography to really show off the various bits and pieces that we get in this set. And they've created a fantastic diorama, as ever, with the photography that really sells this, because this looks really cool. And again, if we look at the side panels, although you might struggle to get this on a shelf unless it's very, very deep, we do have some of these fantastic images here of the sarcophagus closed and open with the figure coming out there looking pretty cool. And then finally, if we look at the reverse of the packaging, we have more display photography here showing off the sarcophagus and some of the other bits and pieces that we get inside here. So the photography here and this as packaging in terms of a display piece is really fun. It looks really nice. And as I always say, I always think NECA's photography is always brilliant. So this does really help sell this set. But what do we actually get inside? Well, to start off with, we get this hardboard diorama backdrop, which is very cool, very thick, and stands very sturdy. And it's really nice to see the detailing on this in terms of the Egyptian hieroglyphics really sets the scene. We also get this additional casket, which is, again, very ornate. And we'll take a closer look at that in a moment. Then we have the star attraction, which, of course, is the sarcophagus. Now, this larger casket is a lot more ornate than the mini one we get with the actual figure. There's a lot more detail in here, which is actually etched in, and the paint taps are, again, really nicely applied. There's gold, there's blacks and things like that, which give it that authentic quality. And of course, if you lift the lid, inside you can place the mini casket that comes with the mummy figure, so that can sit in there almost like a Russian doll. The sarcophagus is actually pretty huge, so it's got quite a bit of depth to it, and it is very, very nicely painted. There's an awful lot of detail going on all around this. Sadly, not on the back so much. Well, there's nothing going on the back, but everywhere else, not really an inch of this is not covered in some detailing somewhere. There's a lot of different paints being used and a lot of fine details that have been drawn out. So I think this looks absolutely fantastic. So then, when you pull all these various bits and pieces together, including the accessories that we get with the original figure release, this looks pretty comprehensive and quite dynamic. I think it makes a really nice display. However, my one criticism would be, as you can see here, is that backdrop that we get there, although it's really solid and sturdy and makes a really nice scene setter, I just feel it needed to be a little bit longer because, as you can see, if you want to incorporate all these elements here to make that display really attractive, you're going to kind of have to bunch everything up really close together, and I just feel like we needed a little bit more room here. Just make this a few inches longer either side to just really help this breathe a little bit and set the scene. But that being said, if you get in real close in the detail, doesn't this look absolutely fantastic? I love how NECA really thought this through in terms of placing the mummy inside the sarcophagus, having that double pin there in those joints, allowing him to cross his arms in that way is absolutely glorious. And then, of course, we've got the open palm hands there, the alternate head of him stepping outside the sarcophagus. Looks really, really cool. So then, final thoughts from me. I have to say, I think the figure stands really well on its own. What a fantastic release. I don't think you'd regret picking this up because you're getting a hell of a package there in that one figure alone. Then you add in these additional pieces and yeah, they really complete the look and the feel for this character and really brings it to life again. Sorry, pardon the pun, but it does. When you create displays like this, doesn't it just really capture the essence of this character and really bring that film to your collection in such a fantastic way? So I love this. I particularly love the sarcophagus, and I love that we get these other bits and pieces. I am going to comment a little bit on the price point here because in terms of the accessory pack, we are paying a lot of money. I have to say, you're paying pretty much the same again as what you paid for the figure, maybe a little bit more actually, and you're not getting an awful lot here, in all honesty. Most of this is just plastics and hardboard, and I feel like this could have been a lot cheaper, especially considering that hardboard piece, as I said, really feels like it needs to be a bit longer. That's my only real criticism of this set, is that I was a little bit disappointed that that's so short. I would like to be maybe another half long again, to just make it feel like this figure and this set can really breathe comfortably when it's on the shelf or in your glass cabinet or however you decide to display this. It just feels a little bit condensed at the moment, but otherwise a fantastic set, and I have to say, it really looks the part. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving the video a like. That kind of thing really does help the channel out and it allows me to keep making more content. And if you're interested in seeing more content, remember to hit subscribe, as there'll be plenty more videos coming soon.